Hey, Chargers Central here. Another victory Monday after the Chargers beat the Falcons 17-13. How's it going, Levon?
Going good. How about you?
Good, good. It was an ugly win, but I'll take it. A win is a win. Like,
Yeah,
I see a lot of fans complaining, yeah, the offense had problems, but you know what? We were on a short week and they had a bye, which people don't think about. It's a huge advantage
that's right.
to be rested 2 weeks versus only 6 days rest when you're still recovering. Like, physically, the Chargers should not have won this game, and the Falcons have a lot of talent.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's like the Ravens game where they had 9 days off. We had 6, so we've had disadvantages there. I think like we lost these games last year. These types of games where we were struggling offensively, the defense wasn't holding up. We were losing these games. So shout out to that defense. Big time plays the whole game. Marcus May with his debut and interception, that was huge.
Yeah,
Tariq still though, this guy stole the show. Wow, he
yeah,
stole the show.
yeah.
Like Kirk Cousins, I know he threw it right to his hands, but still doesn't matter. That's his fault. He
Yeah,
took that into the end zone and got the pick six.
yeah.
So big time play from these rookies, and really exciting to watch this defense without Cam Hart. Without Perriman, they're still putting up decent numbers. I believe they had 4 interceptions
Yeah.
yesterday, or
Four,
4.
four.
So yeah, great job to the defense. Offensively, I mean, aside from Ladd, it was just Ladd. Like he had, I think, 117 yards receiving. Herbert had 147 yards passing. I didn't understand Will Dissly getting only one target. Palmer only had one target, but Palmer has struggled. So okay, but Dissly, he's been producing, so it's surprising to see him get one target. Run game non-existent for the most part. I think you got to run it a little more against the Chiefs because you want Mahomes on the sideline. Um, Offensive line, a lot of concern there. Obviously, the interior. We've been talking about this the whole season. I think it's time for Trey Pipkins to just be benched and Salyer to take over. I mean, the guy's 24. He still has potential. Pipkins is 28. Not much room there to grow, unfortunately. We've, given him chance after chance. He keeps failing. And the biggest concern is the Falcons ranked last in sacks. They had 5 yesterday.
Yeah, and they had five all of the season. For the whole season, they had five, and then they just added another five. Yeah,
Yeah, that's a big concern. So they got to clean that up.
yeah, definitely. But I do love what I'm seeing from this defense. Derwin James came up big with the interception at the end of the game. He had a big, run stop before that. Um, and you love to see it from Derwin. He hasn't had the greatest season, but he's showing up big now. And the offense, yeah, it doesn't look great. It's struggling, but people forget the Greg Roman offense also is designed not to have turnovers. And Herbert only has one pick this year because of the way that offense plays. They don't take chances like Brandon Staley's team did. Where you're going to throw an interception, and that means less first downs. That you're not going to have as many explosive plays, but you're also not giving the ball to the other team and giving them easy chances to score that lose you games, and that's winning football. It's not always pretty to see, but that's what's winning us games right now too. And it was surprising to see Harbaugh with that trick play, with the fake punt. They didn't get it, but it was fun to see that teams now have to respect that. Like, is he going to do this here? They don't know. He's not going to play as conservative as people may think.
Yeah. Yeah, it was surprising for sure. I think J.K. Scott just showed that he might be our emergency QB because he has a better arm than Houston Stick. So But I agree with Greg Roman. I mean, look, I think that's special that he's only thrown one interception. I believe Mahomes' numbers are 15 touchdowns, 11 interceptions this year. He doesn't look the same. So for Herbert to throw just one interception this year, that's huge. And that interception, it was a boneheaded pass. He knew it. And, if that hadn't been done, he would have had 0, which would be crazy. But 1 is still extremely low. So he was like a game manager yesterday, Herbert. Did what he needed to do, and the defense took care of the rest. That first half, it was just Lad. Like literally, there was nothing else going, just Lad getting open. Second half, of course, the injury, and they also started paying more attention to him. So they were like triple teaming him. That's when you need guys like Johnson and Palmer to step up. And Chark was active, didn't see the field much. We got to see him out there. We got to give him some opportunities, especially if you're giving Palmer just one target. Let's get Chark involved. And Johnson only had 4. I think where the target should come they should be split between Johnson and Palmer. And then Lad should get the most. Like we were talking about last week, he should get more targets, and he had 12, which was perfect. And then let's find targets for Chark, but also get targets for Disley. Like Herbert only threw the ball 23 times yesterday. So it's not like we're gonna, be spreading the wealth like we did in previous weeks. But the 12 targets to Lad, we need more of, and we got to get Disley involved more because he was on a stride, and we can't let go of that because against teams like the Chiefs, we're going to need a guy like Disley to produce.
Definitely. And and we didn't run the ball that much either. I think Gus had like 6 carries. And Vidal didn't have many carries. He had a nice run that he broke off, and then he's just not given anything. So we have to see Vidal get more carries just to see what he can do, because he is explosive. Gus still had some nice runs. He broke some tackles, strong physical runs, but you're not going to get the explosive plays like you need from guys like Vidal and JK. And Palmer, he didn't do much, but that two-point conversion was huge. That catch, throw by Herbert, amazing, just amazing. And that's what Herbert can do, and even haters, you see him online saying, "Oh, that was a great throw,"
Yeah. I don't really watch, but there's a guy on Fox Sports. I can't remember his name. He's the biggest Tua fan.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden now, this guy's talking about these great throws by Herbert.
Yeah.
I was like, where were you, dude? Like, you were trashing Herbert all of last year and praising Tua, and now it's the opposite. Or I don't know what he's talking about Tua, but he's praising Herbert now.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, that's good, but just say that I was wrong about Herbert. That's not that hard to do. I mean, now fans are saying, not Charger fans specifically, but just NFL fans and also Chargers fans, I think some of them are saying that he needs to do a better job in the pocket because when it's collapsing, he has to escape. I think he just has to do what he thinks is safe, right? If he's going to escape and run, sure, but at the same time, don't get injured while doing it, right? Because we've seen him with ankle injury and all that. You don't want that either. So he's not Phillip Rivers, right? He's not going to, be able to get that quick throw off. But he's going to make big plays happen, like we saw last week against the Ravens with, him escaping and finding Lad. He's going to do that. I understand what they're saying is like he's basically falling into them, wanting to take the sack. But at the same time, sometimes he has no choice.
Yeah.
So,
and I think that's part of the offense too. I think, we'd rather take sacks than have a wild throw for, an interception. So,
right.
And a lot of these, he really has nowhere to run to,
Yeah. They're trapping him. So there really isn't anywhere. Even in the front, there's no room. Back, obviously, there is none. So, or on the side. So he's trapped. Either he throws a wild pass or throws it out. But I think what they're doing is okay. It's just, you know, just the protection has to be better. And I want to see Salyer get a chance because when he was in the game a couple weeks ago, he was doing a decent job, and that O-line was holding their own. And I don't know. It's just Pipkins. He's been given all these opportunities. It's time to move on from him.
Yeah, I agree because that it's crazy that the Falcons could get 5 sacks when everyone talks about how this team can get no pressure. They're the worst in the league at getting pressure, and you give up 5 sacks. It's unacceptable. That's the kind of thing that can lose you a game like this. And we're lucky we squeaked it out. But
yeah. Lucky that Young Waku missed that field goal. And people are saying Chargers are getting lucky. I'm like, dude, you know how many missed field goals we've had in the past?
Yeah.
We've experienced all of this that other teams are experiencing now with the Bengals and the Falcons.
Yeah. And by Koo.
Exactly.
With Koo as our kicker, missing kicks.
Yeah. And when he left, he kind of like reemerged as this like top kicker, and now he's kind of sunk back again. But I mean, it happens. It's part of the game. A win is a win. That's what matters. We're 8-4 now. We're in good shape. Not a great game offensively, but defensively they exploded. And last year there were games where offensively and defensively we did not have good games. So as long as this year one or the other have a good game, I think we have an opportunity to win all these games. And we've seen that from the offense. They've had a good game. Defense, what was it, 2 weeks ago against the Bengals? They had an okay game, like mediocre, nothing compared to yesterday. But the offense stepped up. So they just have to, balance each other out. And at the end of the day, get the win. That's what matters.
Yeah, definitely. Like that Raiders saying, I hate the Raiders, but just win, baby.
Yeah. As simple as that. And the Raiders, I mean, man, they were so close to pulling off that upset. I don't know how they lost that game. But between the Broncos blocked field goal, between the Panthers missed field goal, and then the Raiders fumble, I don't know how the Chiefs keep winning these games.
Yeah, they get a lot of help. They get a lot of help, and we have to expect that on Sunday when we play them.
It's like you can't brace for it because you don't want to imagine that the refs are going to be siding with the Chiefs constantly, but you're going to have to. It's the unfortunate truth about playing them, and we've noticed it. We play them twice a year. Now their teams are noticing it too, like the Panthers fans, for example, who don't see them. They see them every 4 years, so they don't see them often. So you got to expect it. And I think for the Chiefs game, you got to, first off, protect Herbert 100%. That's the number one thing. Not having Aloy Gilman out there is going to be tough because Gilman always plays well when they play the Chiefs. And then the run game, I don't know what's going to happen with that. I would say just feed the runners because the longer Mahomes is off the field, the better. But we'll see. We'll see what they do. I still have a lot of faith in that defense against Mahomes, and I still think we can beat them. I'm still holding on to my prediction from weeks ago. The Ravens loss didn't change anything, I don't think, for me. I still think we can win out. Maybe one loss, but I don't think it's going to come to the Chiefs.
I agree. We do need to get the pass rush going again. We didn't have it against the Falcons. We need those guys. We need Mac and Bosa. We know they're not 100%, but in Thule, they have to get home to the quarterback, and they didn't do that against the Falcons.
And that's the kind of quarterback you want to get to because he's not mobile. And I was surprised that they couldn't, or they pressured him, but it just was no sacks, I don't think. So you can't put too much pressure against a quarterback like Mahomes because then he'll escape and do his with these jukes that he does and gets free. But
Well, that's what the Chargers did so well their first game against them. They funneled Mahomes exactly, where they needed him to go, and he wasn't finding room, and he wasn't completing passes either. He had a
right,
lot of trouble that game. But
right.
like you said, we definitely need, Perriman, we need Hart, we need everybody there.
Yeah, you need a healthy defense against the Chiefs. Obviously, even yesterday, without those guys, it was a fantastic performance from the defense. But you can rely on that every single game, right? So
Yeah.
you need a healthy defense. You need to get the offense going, whether it's to Disley, to Johnston, to Palmer, anyone, to help Ladd a little, because the more they feed Ladd, the more the pressure is going to be on him. And it's like Keenan Allen last year, like he was getting open. And there was that game where he had 20 targets, 18 catches, that crazy game against the Vikings. That's what it seemed like in the first half for Ladd. So you need some help somewhere here, because now teams are saying, okay, Johnson's not going to catch that. Palmer is not that effective. This is the guy to focus on. And you can't have that. You have to have these other guys involved. Not just involved. I don't just mean targets. I mean catches. So it's got to come from somewhere, whether it's the receivers, whether it's Disley, somewhere. Or you get Vidal involved in the pass game, which I was surprised we didn't yesterday, but it is what it is. We got the win. Now you just have to correct the mistakes, get rid of Pipkins, because truly he's a problem. He's not doing us any service. And let's get this win on Sunday, because it's a big time game against Sunday nights, prime time. If we can win this, that will be huge. And I think a lot of NFL fans are behind us with this one. So let's get this win.
Yeah. And, Bijan Robinson did have a nice game against us. He was finding room to run, and he got that touchdown. So you have to wonder what, how Pacheco is going to look against us. It was his first game back. He's still shaking the rust off. Stopping him is going to be huge.
Yeah, it is, definitely. He did pretty well running the ball, and we'll get more touches Sunday, even more the next week. So he'll be prepared for the playoffs. Obviously, if we meet them in the divisional, he'll be, full workload. The issue with the Chiefs is going to be, if they lose against the Chargers, the Bills are tied with the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
So the Bills play the Lions, which is not going to be easy. That's going to be a heavyweight bout. But if the Chiefs can't beat us, then they're risking playing a wild card game. And if they play against the Broncos, you never know, the Ravens might slip. Yeah. That's either way, any way you look at it. If the Chiefs play a wild card game, it's going to be tough for them. Yeah. And they've never really experienced playing a wild card game for all these years because they've been first. So then you play the Chargers divisional. Hopefully we win, whichever team we verse. In the divisional, they're going to be tired. And they haven't experienced that. Again, they've always had that bye. So you never know. It's still, anyone's game this year.
Yeah. Well, I think this last season they did have to play the wild card. I believe they did.
Possibly. Were the Bills first?
I think the Bills were first. But whatever the case may be, the Chiefs are struggling more this season. So having to play that extra game this year, I think would be huge. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. They're not the same team as last year. That's for sure. No. So we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. There's still a lot of uncertainty. I know it's crazy to say, but there is. You never know, because the Colts won yesterday. Weird game. They won at the very end with a 2-point conversion against the Patriots. But a win is a win for them. They just have to win to survive. Dolphins lost. They're likely done. Bengals lost. They're likely done. And the Steelers, man, that offensive output, I was surprised to see them put that many points up. Russell Wilson seems to be dealing again. But still, I think we're in a good spot right now. Fifth seed is very good right now because there are a lot of good teams, and we can bring up the standings to talk about this. But yeah, there are a lot of good teams. There is no shortcut to winning the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah, and we're in the fifth spot right now.
Yeah.
And that's where you want to be. You want to play the Texans.
Yeah.
I was talking to a Chargers fan at a watch party yesterday, Chris, and he was actually saying he'd rather play Baltimore than the Texans. I was like, I don't think so. I would rather not. Just the way the Texans have struggled this year.
Yeah, they barely beat the Jaguars yesterday.
Yeah.
So definitely not. Definitely not Baltimore in the wild card. Maybe in the conference championship if they can beat the Bills, sure, but not in the wild card. I don't even think the Ravens are going to make, or they're going. I don't think they're going to get a home court advantage because they're currently sixth, and the Steelers keep winning. So it's going to be difficult for the Ravens to have home field.
But the Steelers do have a tough remaining schedule.
They do. It's going to be interesting. That Week 17 game, Steelers Chiefs, is going to be very interesting. And then Week 16 they play the Ravens, the Steelers. So they have a lot of tough games coming up. Again, like I said, man, a lot of uncertainty still because there are just a lot of matchups here that are going to be critical. Chargers Broncos Week 16, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot. Chargers Chiefs Sunday. So, and if you go down, I think the Colts are right outside of that bubble. Yeah. So Colt, yeah, I mean, I don't think Broncos lose ground. They will beat the Browns tonight in Denver. If they don't, I will be shocked. And if the Browns win again, I don't think they have a chance of making the playoffs. But just the fact that Jameis Winston's being able to lead this team after all those losses that Deshaun Watson gave them speaks volumes. And it really goes to show that Deshaun Watson should not be a quarterback in the NFL. And then on the NFC side, it's like it's interesting because the NFC I look at and go, okay, there are two juggernauts, the Philadelphia Eagles and the Detroit Lions. Then there are two teams here that can possibly get upsets, which are the Vikings and the Packers. And then the rest are like, they could get a win, they could get an upset, but not likely. Although I don't think a win against the Falcons or the Seahawks will be an upset for these guys, for any of these, for the Packers and Vikings. But they will have home field advantage for the Falcons and the Seahawks, assuming the Buccaneers don't catch up to the Falcons. And I think they can. They play the Chargers Week 15, but I think the Bucs can possibly catch up to them.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, and it's crazy to see the 49ers down there so low, and now without Christian McCaffrey probably for the rest of the season, it's looking bleak over there.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. The Rams, Cardinals, both are alive. Bucs are alive. 49ers are too, but it's just a lot harder for them, obviously, now without CMC. But Rams, Cardinals, Seahawks, those three could go any way. Bucs, Falcons could go any way. So you never know with that. And then the AFC, truly, I think it's just open. I can see anyone winning the AFC. It's just open. All these teams are so good. I think, honestly, the worst team here are the Texans. I'm a huge Stroud fan, but without Diggs, without a healthy team, Texans can't go that far. So I think it's open, and Chargers have an opportunity. You just need help from the receivers. You need help from the O-line.
I agree. And you need to be healthy too, because we've seen what effect missing guys like Perriman and Hart is having. This defense is still coming up with huge plays, but before we were just stopping people cold, 3 and outs, and and now teams are, they're moving the football against us
Yeah.
because we don't have everyone,
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's a concern for sure, the running backs, but they're top tier running backs like Derrick Henry and Bijan. So they're going to get their numbers, but I hear what you're saying. I agree. You you got to revert back to what was working. Um, the first 4 weeks especially, but also even after the bye, we were doing well defensively. And Texans have a very good running back in Joe Mixon. You can have him running around like Bijan and Derrick Henry did if you want to win. So a lot of attention to detail, obviously. And I think we're in a good position right now. A lot can change though by week 18.
that's true. That's true. It's going to be an interesting season, and talk about interesting. There were some comments made by former Charger Keenan Allen, now with the Bears, and you posted about this here. It's either Chicago or I'm back in LA. So
Yeah.
what do you think about those comments?
I mean, I'm a Keenan Allen fan. I was last year. I mean, I've been a Keenan Allen fan since he was a Charger, but especially last year, just fun watching him play at such a high level. And I just want to see him succeed. Like he's always been one of my favorite wide receivers. So for selfish reasons, like I have his away jersey still, and I want to wear it. So like I want him back.
Yeah.
Now obviously, if he comes back, he has to come back on a fairly cheap deal. I'm not saying vet minimum, but a little above that. Like nothing too disrespectful, but at the same time, nothing too much. Because we also do need another wide receiver, like let's say a T. Higgins for now. If we can get that, Ladd, Keenan, and Higgins, that's all we need. And Johnson as a wide receiver 4, I think that works. Because I think Keenan can play outside of his position, outside of the slot. Let Ladd have that position because he's doing so well, and now he has a connection with Herbert. But also another thing is you bring that familiarity back with Keenan because Herbert has that connection still. He's played 4 or 5 years with him now, so that connection's still there, the chemistry's still there. And we saw him ball out, on Thanksgiving. So I really want to see him succeed, but it will be better for him to succeed in the powder blue. So bring him home. Fair deal, right? Nothing too much, not overpaid, but not underpaid. And I think that's where I stand here. I want him back, but he can't have that same kind of wide receiver 1 role that he had with us a couple years ago.
I agree. I'd love it too. I still have a couple of Keenan jerseys too, and there are a couple of thoughts here I have too. This could be a negotiation tactic with the Bears, like you don't pay me, all right, I'm going back to LA.
Yeah.
And someone else at the watch party I was at yesterday, Beach City Bolts, they said he could mean the Rams. I don't think he would. I don't think he would, but
I don't think so. I didn't even think about that because it just doesn't make sense. Because he's saying back to LA, so it's like back to LA. Okay, you're going back to the Chargers, not because the thing is with him in that video, he said definitely the Giants. So there are teams that he definitely doesn't want to go to. I don't blame him. I don't think anyone wants to play for the Giants right now. But I mean, those comments he made, they keep bringing it up about Caleb and Herbert. He had to make those. He can say that, my former guy was much better than the current. He knows very well, especially now that he's played with them all these games, these 13 games, that Herbert's better than Caleb Williams. He can't say that though. So it'll be good to see him back. I hope he comes back. I hope Chicago doesn't offer him what he wants so that he comes back, because truly we need him because we need receivers. Even with T. Higgins, we need that one more reliable receiver that I was talking about last week. And he needs us because Bears aren't really doing anything right now. They're 4-7, 4-8. and they're struggling. So they're not going to go anywhere this year, at least. And next year, it's still not that great. Not as great as people thought with all those weapons that Caleb Williams would have. So I think it's a match made in heaven. Bring him back.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see it. If he keeps putting up these big numbers with the Bears, will they pay him next season? You know, it, you know,
I mean, he's
it,
getting older.
yeah,
That's the one thing is that he's getting older. So maybe they'd say, if you want to take a wide receiver 3 role here behind Odunze, then yeah. But he might say, you know what, forget it. I'll go back to LA, take that wide receiver 3 role, but actually, enjoy living in LA and not be in the freezing cold.
yeah,
So I think that's another thing. Like the weather is just insane right now in Chicago.
yeah.
December, January, February, it's just insanely cold. So he misses that weather too. I bet you anything.
I'm sure.
So he wants to be back here, I think. It's just if Chicago offers him more money, I don't know if he's going to want to come back. I think it's all based on the money, but at the same time, you got the deal during the offseason from the Bears. Like you got the money that you wanted. So you got that. Come back now. You're financially free now. Just take the pay cut, come back, and actually win.
Yeah, I don't think any Charger fan would be against that. Yeah, we all love Keenan.
Yeah, I think some Charger fans forget how good this guy was. Like he was insane for us, and spent all these years with the Chargers too. His whole career basically, besides this season. He was insane. Like he put up number after number, and doesn't matter the quarterback, Rivers, Herbert, didn't matter. He was just still putting up numbers. So we need him back.
Yeah, definitely. And I remember those seasons, when he was younger, when he'd get injured early on in the season, it was like, oh, the season's over. We don't have Keenan now,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he was the true wide receiver 1. And I mean, he won't be, I don't think, next year unless we don't bring in T. Higgins or a guy of his caliber. But if it's Ladd and him, I'll still take that. Johnson has a wide receiver 3 because then you have 2 reliable wide receivers. That's all we need is 2 reliable wide receivers. So if we can bring Keenan in on a cheaper deal, upgrade that O-line, and make some, little moves defensively, while also having a younger tight end, whether it's from Michigan or from Penn State, doesn't matter. That's good. So we'll see. I think either way, whether we get Keenan or T. Higgins, we'll be good. We just need 2 reliable wide receivers. And Ladd is one. Where's that second one? That's what we need.
Yeah, and we keep saying we want to see DJ Chark just to give him a chance, just to see if he can do it, since he's had a 1,000-yard season before and 7 touchdowns with a bad quarterback in Jacksonville.
Yeah, and what I was thinking was possibly the reason why Palmer got such a lower target share yesterday is because they might be phasing him out to bring in Chark to kind of like ease him in. Like he's getting a couple snaps here and there, but no targets. So maybe against the Chiefs, he'll see a target or 2, and then more the next game. You never know. It seems like Palmer's kind of getting out of their sight, and because he's not going to be with us next year, right? We know that for a fact. I don't think we're going to sign him at all, or even offer a contract to him. So give him that opportunity now, Chark, that is. And hey, you never know. He might erupt a game and already do better than Palmer has done all season. You never know. So we can possibly even keep Chark next year. And that would be good too. I think Chark as a wide receiver 4 would be solid. Then you move Johnston because Johnston, he's still young. He still holds that value. You move him, get either a draft pick or a defensive, piece. Depends on what the team that you're trading him to needs. Because if the team needs a young wide receiver, you never know. They might take the chance on Johnston.
Yeah, his value is so low right now. Probably, I still believe in him. I know he's had 2 bad games in a row now, but we saw him. 6 touchdowns. One of
Yeah,
the league leaders in touchdowns. He can be a big play guy, and we still need that. His confidence is shaken right now. That coaching staff is going to build him up again. That's what they
yeah.
do, and he just needs to get that back. Uh, I'm sure he's doing all the reps in practice. He needs that confidence. Um,
Yeah, I mean, I have
but
more confidence in Johnson than I do in Palmer,
yeah,
just because Palmer's been with us a lot longer and really hasn't gotten out of that shell. I think Johnson still has that chance to do that. And I would love to have him back next year, but just not in a role like this. Like wide receiver 2, I think is a little too much.
yeah,
Even maybe wide receiver 3 is too much. But like wide receiver 4, possibly, I think he can evolve in that role and then get into wide receiver 3. But you know, again, I think just 2 consistent wide receivers you need, right? So you have it with Ladd, either Keenan or Higgins, and you'll be good. And I think even if you get Keenan and not Higgins, that's okay because you have that deep threat with Johnston. You can also resign Chark and have a deep threat there too. So I think we'll be in good shape. Um, of course, work on that O line, resign JK and Gus because you need a big back, and I don't think many big backs are going to be available um, in the free agency. Also, a lot of these rookie running backs, they're pretty good. Um, I see people doing mock drafts and us getting Ashton Janty. I don't think that's going to happen. I think it goes way before we can pick, but that's okay because I like where we're at right now in the draft as well. Like Loveland's good. I think the Penn State tight end will go probably a little after Loveland. So either way, we'll be good. Um, and I don't see why we pass up on Loveland because he's a Michigan, product. Harbaugh's not going to want to pass up on that. So he's
yeah,
going to want to make that. I can even see them trading up for him. So we're in good shape. 5th seed is good. I'm happy with the matchup against the Texans if that holds. I think we can definitely beat them. We'll talk more about the Chiefs matchup later this week. But I think we can beat the Chiefs too on
yeah.
Sunday. So
Yeah, they're definitely beatable. I mean, like a lot of people are saying that they're the worst 11-1 team we've ever seen. The
yeah,
point differential that they have is so
yeah,
slim.
I've
It's
never seen anything
almost
like
all
this.
1-score games.
Yeah, yeah, it's like us last year. I'm telling you, like
Yeah,
we lost all these close games last year, and now they're just winning them. That's all. That's the only difference. So
yeah. But it'll be fun. It'll be fun, and
yeah,
you know, we have the talent. We have the coaching. Let's go get it. Let's go get it. But one other thing I wanted to bring up, the Beach City Bolts. Where I go to Charger watch parties down at Triangle Square in Costa Mesa, near Newport Beach. They're having an event with Bradley Bozeman, a Christmas party. It's gonna have also a toy drive, Secret Santa, on December 20th, 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. They're gonna for $75, you get a Bozeman jersey, a photo, 3 autographs on any items you want. So come down to La Vida Cantina that day. There's all the information here, and find the Beach City Bolts on Facebook, and be a fun time to come support Bozeman, who protected Herbert. When that guy was trying to twist his ankle, we all remember that and love Bozeman for that. So yeah,
yeah. I think Bozeman can still remain on this team next year too. Like I could definitely see him with us as a backup, possibly. But I don't see him leaving. Even if we get a starting center, he'll still be there as a backup, which is good. We
yeah,
need guys like that.
yeah. Great dude. Yeah, also he's a good run blocker, you know, and I think if you do move Pipkins out, he does block better, you know.
Yeah,
I think just Pipkins is just such a drain
yeah,
on that line. Yeah,
yeah. Definitely got to make a change there, and soon. Like we're already week 14. You know, we got to make a change.
yeah. But remember to subscribe and smash that like button, and check out Underdog Fantasy promo code BOLT for the match up to $1,000. And let's get ready for that big game against KC, man. Go Chargers.
Do it. All right. See you
All right.
guys.
See ya.